Yeah.
Not just rock. There's some
Okay.
there's some concert
How
music.
about this one? Xylophones.
It's a classic circus music now. This is, yeah, the sword jugglers or the.
I would love that trombone.
So are they going to hit?
Khachaturian saber dance. Percussion, rhythm. Again, a different timbre.
So
a different
are they
texture.
hearing any of this from the Ottomans? Because the Ottomans had almost all percussion instruments in their Medr bands.
Yeah, but we're 100 years before the European orchestras began to adopt those instruments.
Sure, I understand, but the Ottomans
Have
are
some-
using them now.
yeah,
I
but they
imagine
may not
that
have
the
heard of it.
Ottomans
There's
would
a
love
big-
that piece.
Yeah,
The Ottomans
they're
might well take to that.
Yeah.
Xylophones, marimbas don't exist yet because rosewood has not been brought to Europe and turned into musical instruments. And it is
they
the
have, like,
unique
what do they call it?
resonance
Oh,
capability of the rosewood
Clap.
that makes the xylophone and the marimba work.
That's
Other woods do not have the resonance of rosewood. You look at any
Can't make a
performance
xylophone out of walnut.
well, but you look at any performance grade xylophone or marimba in an orchestra or a band,
It's all rosewood.
it's all rosewood.
What was the source of Rose?
And rosewood is usually Brazil.
Tropical, yeah.
There are probably analog trees in Southeast Asia, just like there's.
But it's still,
there's,
yeah.
There's analogs of mahogany in both countries, but the real rosewood is
Amazonian,
Brazil.
which is north of Pernambuco.
Well, there's another reason to get people into the Amazon.
Yeah. How about this one?
Let's talk about chocolate for a minute.
How do you think this would play in the aftermath of Kremlin games?
Uh-huh.
Mussorgsky's Great Gate of Kiev from pictures at an exhibition.
That was my point.
The Ravel
You know, I had never
orchestration.
heard that orchestration because when I was young, I bought Tomida's electronic pictures at an exhibit, which is a beautiful.
The first time I heard it, the first
It's
time I heard it
beautiful.
was Emerson, Lake and Palmer's version.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved it so much I went out and bought.
I had to buy 3 more Tomita albums just because I love that so
I
much.
bought the DGG version just so that I could get a real
I think
one.
they would consider Bolero a curiosity piece at first. I think they would. I
'Cause
think
of
a
the
lot
bit-
of them would like it, but they wouldn't know why.
Because of the way it builds.
Yeah.
You know, I think the reason we do art in the first place is to create an emotional response. And some of this creates an emotional response without us.
One more.
Oh! Is this West Side Story again? Yep.
This doesn't mean anything almost about the visual.
Yes, it does. It's an irritant.
Well, what I'm saying is,
You have the beat and the clip.
separate from knowing West Side Story, you'd be wondering, what the hell are they doing? Because you wouldn't see the guy
But
I
that's
don't know
the
West
point.
Side Story that well.
Chords, rhythm, syncopation, different sound, different texture, different timbre. How quickly are they going to move toward West Side Story? I think it's going to be a little while.
Yeah.
Unless they figure out some way to show the movie.
Yeah.
If they
Even
see
so-
that-
I think the one reason they might jump to West Side Story is because somebody says, aha, updated Shakespeare,
Well-
Romeo and Juliet.
But
Yeah.
so much of this is jazz influence, which is African influence, particularly in the realm of percussion and the bass and beat, which is sub-Saharan in origin. So,
Yeah, but you know.
if we kill the slave trade, we're also going to kill all the sources of this.
And the
But
the uptime
Spain
influence
had that more
They're
more
that's the only
influence
way
than
they can
anywhere
get
else
it.
in Europe. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's orchestral. Let's talk about choral for a moment. Again, except for large religious spectacles, choral music is usually small ensembles because the nobility typically didn't sponsor large groups of musicians.
Didn't they sing themselves?
A lot, yeah.
They did.
A lot of
Some of them did.
Well, in Wales, they're singing all over. You can't stop them.
This is from the time. This is from the period.
I think I've sung something like this.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is the Gloria from Praetorius's Lutheran Christmas Mass. Praetorius died in 1621. So that is current time frame for the music. That would have been a large choral piece for the time.
How would they react to Carmina Burana?
Just.
Or Mike Dad?
No, you're next.
Hang on. Gets better. That's Verdi. That's the Dies Irae from Verdi's Requiem. You hear the contrast,
Mm-hmm.
difference in timbre, the difference in texture. Okay, here's some more contemporary stuff. This is Monteverdi again.
Re-sing it.
This one is by Samuel Scheidt.
Sounds very similar.
Polyphony all tends to, after a while, polyphony all starts to sound the same.
Yeah.
Ruth, when I put the Baroque music on, Ruth walks out of the room. She says it all sounds alike. This third one is by Heinrich Schütz, my composer character.
I think his book needs to have a CD with it. The soundtrack. You say, when reading chapter 6, play this track.
Oh, like Ringo does?
Okay, those were all motets by contemporary composers. That's the kind of music they were writing. That's the kind of music the abbots and the lords were asking them to produce.
And it's for like 4 people or 8 people.
It's for small groups.
Yeah.
It all sounds kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm. Now, compare it to this.
How many times has this been made in the movies?
Come on.
No, you have to anticipate.
Okay. But again, I'm just giving you a flavor for the contract.
For a while, the second one
Yeah.
is, I'm going to kill you.
I'm just giving you a flavor for the kinds of things they're going to stumble across this.
Well, it's not going to be good for, you know, elevator music. I mean, you don't use Carmen Burana for...
Okay, now there's been a glaring gap in the discussion, and that's been the whole topic of opera. Very highbrow music. The reason for that is opera is very, very, very new at this point in time. The first composer who is considered to have written something that could really be considered an opera is Monteverdi. So it's just been in the last 10, 15, 20 years that something that musicologists and music historians call opera was started. There is no opera house anywhere in Europe at this point in time.
Until we build it.
We're building one in Magdeburg. But at this point in time, opera is brand new music form, very highbrow, not much exposure.
Is that the same with ballet? Are they...
No, they have ballet. Not necessarily in the modern forms, but they have ballet.
dancers who
Formal
perform to
dance.
music, yeah.
Yeah. But opera,
They didn't have toe dancing.
opera
Oh, no,
was
I
new.
didn't think so.
Now, the first English opera was not written. It was written by Henry Purcell, and I think it dates to like 1689. And this is the climax of the piece.
Falling asleep here.
Yeah, this is the climax.
Right. You should
This is-
have to walk up that rather than the climax.
This is the climax.
Yeah,
Th-
one woman
This
and a
is the high
harpsichord.
point of the whole production.
This is boring.
This is the fat lady singing?
This
This
is
is the fat lady
this is the
singing.
reason I don't go to opera. This is
Oh, but modern opera is really good.
But-
Well, hang on, hang on.
Oh.
This was all recitative, introducing the aria. Here comes the aria.
Oh, come on. Grind it up faster. Come on.
You see the hankies coming out.
The only reason the hankies would come out would be to hide the yawns.
That's a patronize. You might not really be crying.
I watched a movie on TCM the other day with Howard Keel and
Okay,
Red
the
Skelton.
Italian operas weren't any better. Okay?
The Italians said they
That's
were.
the state of opera at the time. I'm not even going to go to the 1800s. I'm going to go to the 1700s for the contrast.
No. 1700? No, Wagner wasn't 1700. Oh yeah, Mozart wrote in German. Lots of them wrote in
The
German.
woman can act.
This is I can't pronounce the German. In English, it's called the Queen of the Night aria from Mozart's Magic Flute. And it's about this long in German,